Sort of went to like reload and then went to take off again. Felt like somebody just kicked me in the back of the leg like real hard, and sort of turned around and no one was there. And kind of knew straight away. I was like, oh, that's Achilles. I feel like this is sort of the first time I've been in that situation now with the injury and then coming off contract, just not knowing what's going to happen. I kind of went through a period like after that second surgery where I was probably like depressed, finding it hard to get out of bed, like just had no motivation. First song I started working on was Pressure. That song just sort of like, I know that's just how I felt at the time. After the second surgery, they wouldn't let me fly, so I wrote this in the hotel. I was stuck there. I couldn't move for 2 weeks. That's probably like one of the realest tracks I feel like I've ever wrote.
Good. You just want to introduce yourself for the people at home who don't know who you are? Do you have a little introduction that you can give
well, I guess, for people who don't know me, my name's Jamayne Tauno-Brown. I play for the North Queensland Cowboys, and I also happen to have another passion away from footy, which is my music, and I'll go by the name Yung Maynie. So,
yeah, sweet.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Growing up, what came first? I know we talked about this the other day, but you talked about having footy since the age of 4.
Yeah.
But when did the music start to come in? How did the footy start? All that.
Yeah, I guess I don't know, sort of for as long as I can remember. I've always loved music. Since a very young age. But yeah, footy sort of probably where it all started first for me. My dad come over from New Zealand. Obviously met my mum and that, had me down in Melbourne. And as soon as I was sort of old enough, he chucked me into footy straight away. And even though it's all AFL down there, he sort of got me involved in rugby league. Obviously being from New Zealand, he had like a passion for that. So chucked me in at 4 years old. I played for a club called the Waverley Oakley Panthers. I played a bit of my junior footy there and then went on to the Altona Roosters. So, footy for me was always sort of from a young age. And I guess probably music, I've always loved music, but probably wasn't until I reckon I was like maybe 9-10 years old. I started to, I guess, get into writing and stuff. And I remember I was actually in grade 5. We had this substitute teacher. Her name was Estelle, and she come into our class and took over for half the year. And she was a massive, she was big on music, and she'd encourage us to write lyrics and stuff. And I guess that's probably where I first started making music and writing lyrics. So I guess from there it just sort of always grew. I've always sort of done it. Even though I've been playing footy the whole time, I've always sort of done it alongside it. So, they're two, passions of mine that I enjoy doing. Yeah.
Was there any artists that you listened to that, I guess, that inspired you to start in particular, or have you got like a top 3, or is it?
Oh, I guess, I always sort of growing up, you listen to, I don't know who was big when I was growing up, like 50 Cent and Eminem, and those guys are sort of
the US scene, not really.
Yeah, sort of a lot of the US scene was sort of what I looked up to. And then probably high school, I feel like that's when I really started to find like a passion for the art and artists and stuff. And I think J. Cole was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And then obviously, Kendrick and Drake, those are probably my top 3. I felt like I've sort of progressed with them, from high school, my adolescence into adulthood. So
the big 3.
Yeah, the big 3.
So did you pick a side? I know we talked about it, but did you pick a side when it came to the Drake Kendrick? Are you glad Jake Cole stayed out of it? Or?
I don't know. It was a tough one, Obviously, I'm a fan of all of them, and I respect them all equally, I feel like, but I probably took Kendrick in that, But it doesn't take nothing away from any of them. I don't feel like how it all played out. I feel like they're all great in their own right. So yeah.
No, 100%. When was your first show? Because you said you started writing. 11, did you say?
Yeah. My first actual performance.
Yeah, performance. I guess. Did you start off just by performing to friends and family? Was it one of those things where it's hard to actually perform to them at first, or did it just come?
I think I'd always sort of I don't know, growing up with my cousins and stuff, we'd do little performances and stuff for our family. But I think my first proper show was with my mates. My mates down in Melbourne from high school. We probably would have been, or maybe it was just after high school. I did a show in Melbourne with a few of my mates. We just had like a couple of songs together, and I just jumped up and spit a few verses, and that was my first proper one. But I guess by myself, my first proper one was here last year in Townsville. So
Yeah, right. Was that at Flinders?
Flinders, yeah.
Right.
I think it was HP Boys open
Yeah.
for them, yeah. So that was my first proper one as Yung Maynie, like by myself. So yeah.
Yeah, right. And would you say that experience, do you reckon it was harder? I don't know if you remember your first like time running on NRL and stuff. Would you say like, was there more nerves, or if there was any nerves going out to do the music or the NRL? Which one do you find?
I don't know. I feel like it's different because with the music, it was probably a different kind of nervous just because it was like I was going out there by myself. Like you don't have your teammates to sort of like hype you up and that. But obviously you got like your mates in the crowd, whatever. But yeah, it's a different feeling, a different sort of nervousness going up on stage. But I feel like once you're up there, it's like a mad adrenaline rush. Like I've never it's a different feeling compared to footy. Like it's a different sort of rush. But yeah, in saying that, probably the first time I went out in front of a stadium full of people, like that was pretty nerve-wracking too. So I feel like they're both, equally as nervous, but just different in some ways. Yeah.
And the name Yungmaynie, did you come up with that yourself, or was that something like that your friends helped you with? Or was that like, where'd you get the young part from? I understand like there's a few like other rappers and stuff that have utilized the young or something. Or did you have it from a lot earlier age? Or
Nah, so I kind of made the name. I think it was probably like 2018, 2019. But Maynie's always just been my nickname. Like since I was young, all my family, all my mates and that just call me Maynie. So Maynie was always my nickname. And then I don't know, I kind of just felt like it was a bit too plain. So I remember, I think it was like 2018, that era when he had all like the Young Thugs, Lil Pumps and all that. So I just added the young in front.
Like that 2017 Cypher sort of year.
Yeah, like that sort of year. You had all like, there was all these weird names and you had the Young and the Lils and so I had the Young and yeah.
Did you ever watch that 2017 Cypher?
Who was the other one?
That was the one with Uzi, 21, Kodak.
I think I might have, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was insane.
I remember like a lot of those. I remember the ones with actually, what year was it? I can't even remember. Yeah, in high school in that like 2013, 2014. It
would have been
like Kendrick
was
and that.
Yeah,
I think
Kendrick
it
was
with
around
Kendrick.
that time.
I remember a lot of those ones and the BET ciphers and that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, sweet. And like growing up with the rugby league, you know how you said you started writing lyrics at around 11. You would have probably been a bit like into the serious side of rugby around then, or when did the rugby go a bit serious? Where I don't know what age do you reckon that you were like, oh, this actually can lead to something a bit more serious?
Yeah, probably. I reckon probably didn't start to get a bit serious till I was probably like maybe 15, 16. I'd sort of like always sort of played and that, but yeah, around 15. I remember I got picked up in the Melbourne Storm junior system.
Yeah.
And sort of trained in their like how SG ball squad and that. From 15 went through their development. So yeah, 15, 16 sort of when I started to take it serious. Played a bit of SG ball down there in Melbourne. Then progressed into 20s and then sort of didn't work out my last year of 20s there, so I had to relocate and I ended up moving to Newcastle. I played under 20s for the night, so I guess 15, 16 is where it sort of started to get serious.
What was the feeder squad for the Storm? Is that the SG?
What's that like? Oh, the feeder squad to the Storm. Oh, so SG was like 18s.
Okay,
it's like the Melbourne Inga.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
what side outside? Because you would have played in another club outside of the Melbourne Storm and that developed. What side what club were you at?
Oh, so when I was there in Melbourne, it was just like you'd go back and play for your local club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. So our Taunoa Roosters was my. That's I claim that as my junior club because I moved there when I was about 12 and played up until first grade there. So that was my junior club, our Taunoa Roosters.
Yeah. Well, so around that 15, 16, when you're about to get serious with NRL, were you getting serious with the music then? Like I know you had Brothers, but that was like a lot later on and stuff like that. All those songs, but. Was there a time where you were actually thinking about doing that a bit more serious, I guess, and putting the footy aside, or did you want 100% focus on footy?
I always I really did sort of love the music thing. yeah, probably 15, 16. That's when, you know, a lot of me and my mates were starting to get deep into the rap thing, and we were putting up music back then on SoundCloud. But yeah, I kind of I did want to do it, but I felt like I kind of didn't have a choice. It was just like footy was all I sort of had. You know, obviously, like when you tell people you want to be a rapper or music, they sort of look at you a bit funny, or like they don't treat it as like a real profession sort of thing. Well, I guess that's what it was like back then.
Yeah, I feel
But
like
now
back
it's
then,
probably changed a bit. So
100%.
yeah,
Especially
even,
just with everything like YouTube,
Yeah.
rap, anything. Like back then, if you told someone you wanted to be a YouTuber, they'd probably look at you a bit weird. But
yeah,
but because as you would know in the rap industry, I don't know the full logistics of it, but you could just have that one song that could just spark your career in that sense. So I don't see why, like, in nowadays people would take it as like it's a lot more serious than what it used to be, I guess you'd say, just with social media and that. So
yeah,
like having that one song can change your whole life, I feel like, in today's era.
yeah, definitely.
But like other than that, backing it up though, like we were talking briefly about this the other day, but I don't know, because do you reckon there's a problem though with like the people, I guess, blowing up on one song, I guess, like trying to back it up after that? Or
Yeah, I feel like it's hard. You see it a lot, like the one hit wonders.
Yeah.
You know, people put their all into one song, and then it's kind of hard because like it's probably just unintentionally just gets hyped up, and then once they drop something else, if it doesn't live up to their expectations, you know, people sort of just count them out straight away. So I guess it is tough, that one hit wonder sort of thing. But I feel like today it's like you don't really have to rely on the one hit wonder like the one hit. It's you could just keep dropping multiple tracks, and with the way like how things move so fast these days on social media, like people just want more and more and more. So I feel like that's what I'm trying to do like lately with my music, is just continuing to drop tracks rather than just look for the one big hit. Yeah.
Well, it seems to be that way now. That I don't know if it's like this with all us, but I've noticed it's no more like as much as releasing albums anymore. It seems to be releasing a lot of singles. Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Is that the approach you're going with? Like instead of dropping an album and making people wait 6 months, or is that better off to do that sort of approach down the track when you've already got an audience? Or?
I feel like it probably is the singles nowadays. Is like, you know, people just want like the singles, and I don't feel like unless you got a big following, no one really will respect your sort of. If you chuck a project out, no one's really gonna go listen to all 5-6 tracks or whatever. But I'm actually dropping the EP soon, which is something we're working on. So I'm dropping that. But I feel like that's kind of more for my own sort of thing. Just like I just sort of made it and put it together as a project, and something that I'm proud of, like for myself. And I'm not really too worried about the outcome with that. But yeah, obviously following that up, I'll probably drop a whole heap of new singles and that.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say to you. Like, do you feel like that approach of just trying to write songs for the sake of them blowing up, do you reckon it's like you just said, is it better, like, do you find you enjoyed that whole process more when you just made it for yourself? You didn't care about who cares what people think, and it's just really how you want it. Yeah,
definitely. I think early on when I started making music and writing, or like started to get a bit of buzz, it was kind of like doing it to see what everyone's reactions were, or if I can get more views on this song or whatever. But now I've really just tried to get back to making what I like, and I think what resonates with me. And because obviously it might not be the biggest hit or whatever, but I feel like there's always going to be at least one person out there that it can sort of have a impact on, you know. So I guess making what's true to myself and what I enjoy, I think that's the go for me nowadays, rather than just writing a hit for the sake of it.
100%. And during that process of creating it, is there any moment, I guess, that's when you're going through the step process of writing the song, creating it all that, is there a certain part of it where it's just so much more exciting or like hits you further? Is it the part where you like write down a lyric and you go like, that's amazing? Or is it like when you hear it for the first time, like after you make it, like what is the process, I guess, when you know you've made a good song, I guess?
I guess it probably starts like, well, it kind of starts from like when I hear a beat or I hear like a certain melody or something, I'll hear it and I'll think like, I'll kind of just sort of like mumble along to it and sort of just envision it in my head, and then I'll just try to just add on to it. Like, so I'll write lyrics that I feel like suit it. And then, yeah, it's just kind of as you go, like, the more you, like, as you progress with the track, you kind of just think, like, fuck, yeah, this is the one. Like, it's kind of like, yeah, I think that's my sort of process.
Yeah,
how I approach it, yeah.
Is there any way you tap into that? Because obviously, like, some songs you'd have to, like, go back to, like, the past, let's say, or go back on an old relationship to feel some sort of emotion, I guess, to write that lyric. Is there some sort of way, I guess, that you get into the zone, I guess you'd say? Is there, like, do you go listen to other artists? You just literally sit there and it just comes to you? Is there, when you're driving, does it just like, oh, shit?
Yeah,
it's like,
it's kind of weird. Just inspiration just hits you, like, randomly.
Yeah.
But I've tried to just, like, as soon as I sort of think of something or feel inspired by something, I write it down in my notes. Like, I've got shitloads of freaking things on my notes, just like, whether it be like I might have witnessed something or, like, you know, something happened to me, I'll just write it down, and then, like, I'll try to revisit it, like, when I can, and write on it. But it's usually like I'll just my process. I'll just lock myself in a room, like, listen to the beat, then I'll just, whatever comes to mind or whatever I feel, that's what I just start writing about. And yeah, I guess that's all my process.
Yeah, no, sick. Was there any song, I guess you'd say, that you'd point out where you first heard it, like, I don't know, like live or for the first time performing it, where you actually were like, yeah, like, this is it, I guess you want to pursue this full time? Was there, like, a certain song of yours that did that for you, I guess, when you heard it or performed it for the first time?
I don't know. I feel like,
do you have a favorite? Like,
there's probably been a couple. Probably my track Brothers. That's probably my most well-known track. Probably just seeing the success of that. Like, probably people don't know. Like, that was 2020. I remember that's when the comp had stopped for NRL with COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And then I went back to Melbourne, and I sort of, like, I had a little setup there, like a little mic and just my computer and that. And I just put that track together, like, within, like, a couple of hours, just in the spare bedroom. And then, like, I just, released it as part of a project. And
so were you playing with for the Warriors at that time?
So I was at the Warriors at that time, and it was during COVID. I went back home to Melbourne when the comp stopped, and just sort of locked myself in the room, heard the beat, and then I just started writing to it.
Did you still have to train in that when you were doing that bubble? Yeah, that whole bubble thing, I don't quite fully understand it. Was it like, so you just had to go, you were allowed to go back home, but did you still train or anything? I can't even remember. Did NRL shut down completely?
Yeah, no, we still so we had to go back to our own sort of houses and that.
Oh, okay.
Because that was, I think no one was sort of allowed out at that time. You had to stay in your own house or whatever. But yeah, we still had to train and whatever. So we just made sure we stayed fit. So when we come back, like when we came back together, we were sort of in some sort of shape before the comp started. But yeah, that's when I made Brothers, and just seeing the impact of that. Like, you know, I seen, there was heaps of people just sharing on Insta stories, and I feel like that's how it sort of blew up, because there was like a lot of other tracks that I've released, and they make it onto Spotify algorithm, like the editorial tracks and the algorithm tracks, playlists. Oh, sorry, the editorial playlists and that. But this one, like, didn't make it onto any. It was just all organic, just like good music, I guess. So just seeing the impact of that, and like now it's hit 1 million views, like that was pretty crazy. And probably my other track that I just released recently, Pressure. I feel like that was one track that once I sort of heard it and played it back, like I sort of just, there's a different kind of feeling, like I probably never felt that for any of my tracks, like and then it sort of had some impact. So that's probably one of my favorite tracks as well.
Yeah, that's sick. And during that the bubble period, so wait, did you go out and did you drop the song with the music video? So I remember seeing the music video for that. Or did that come out afterwards? Was that
Brothers?
For Brothers? Yeah.
So we did that afterwards. So originally I had no video for that. It was just, I just dropped the project just with the audio, and sort of once I seen it started to pick up, I sort of decided that I wanted to do a video. And then I did it with my cousins and some of the boys back in Melbourne. We had before I was so before I played NRL, we had like a little rap group called The Cross. So this is back in Hoppers Crossing where we're from in Melbourne, and we sort of released a few songs and that. But once Brothers sort of took off, I hit them up and I was like, oh, do you just want to do like a remix and then we'll get a video done and all that. So that's all how that come about. And yeah, we did like a little remix. So it's a Brothers remix, but then that's what the video is for that. So yeah, that's when I put that up.
Yeah, sick. So in terms of like, I guess creating like a successful song in your eyes, then it just comes with, it doesn't matter about the views then, like you don't care about if it's actually gonna do numbers or anything like that, just if you actually genuinely enjoy it or
yeah, like honestly it's whether I genuinely enjoy it, but I guess I'd be lying if I said it's not good to like I'd be lying if I said it doesn't feel good, like getting some good views and stuff like
100%.
that. But you know, that's not all I do it for. Like I genuinely just try to make stuff I love and that I think people are gonna enjoy as well. So yeah, that's the process behind that.
Yeah, 100%. And your new album, Peace of Mind. Yeah, when's that dropping? Have you got a release date yet?
Peace of Mind. Late August, I'll say. I haven't got locked in the exact date, but yeah, late August. Yeah.
No, sounds good. And yeah, we did the music video for that one. Well, I wouldn't say music video, but I guess all the visuals, I guess you'd say, for it. So
all the visuals,
But yeah, and that process came from like just listening to the songs as well and seeing what actually just came to my head when I did that. Same as and we were talking about before how when you hear a beat, how you just come up. I think that's the same process when I see these music videos, just hearing and seeing what can go with it. Yeah. But no, that'll be sick once it drops, especially. So everyone stay tuned for that. So that'll be awesome. Is there any current artists, like I know you said Kendrick, Drake and all that for the artists that inspire you? Is there any new artists or anything? Have you got like a top 3 right now, like currently just listening to it? It doesn't have to be your top 3 of all time, but is there just like 3 artists that you just have on repeat, I guess you'd say?
Right now?
Yeah. You can extend the list if you want, but...
Actually, one I've been listening to is Blanco, UK. I think it's like UK, sort of like, it's like a tropical drill type sound.
Yeah, right now.
So yeah, I've been listening to that. What else is there? Tommy Richmond.
I haven't heard of him.
He sings that what's it, $1 Million Baby song.
Oh, I think I know which one.
Yeah, like his song's gone viral. I reckon he goes hard. Who else will I say?
Is it just mainly rap that I guess you'd say you'd listen to? Or is there other inspirations you take from? Because like I feel like even just from the instrumental standpoint, like I'm not saying like listening to like things like jazz, but you'd probably like get a lot of instrumental from those sort of genres as well. Like
I listen to everything. Like I'm open to all sort of genres. I like listening to like a lot of oldies, like 80s music. I feel like I love 80s music. Even like since moving up here, is like I've sort of got into country a bit.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Listening to some of those artists, like I reckon, Morgan Wallen, I reckon he's unreal.
How do you feel about Post Malone doing all his country now?
I haven't really listened to it too much, but I reckon it's pretty cool. I reckon he's got a mad voice for it.
Yeah, no, it's cool when you see artists, I guess, go outside what they usually do.
Yeah. I guess that's probably something that I wouldn't mind exploring, just sort of bending the genres a bit.
100%.
'Cause I feel like you just got to keep pushing your limits and not just being one-dimensional.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could find something that you didn't even know that you enjoyed and tap into that, and that'd be unreal if you found something from that. But what about pre-game songs? Is there? I know a lot of footy players talk about like certain music they like listen to. Is there any like? Did you have like a like a ritual, I guess you'd say, of a certain song, or you just shuffle a playlist? Or
I don't know. I don't really have exact songs that I listen to, but sort of just anything. Probably any sort of like 50 Cent song.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And what about
Many
rituals?
Men or something like?
No, that's a mad song to walk out to. Is there anything that you did prior to games, like in the ritual? Like, did you put on your shoes first, then put on shirt? Like, is there any sort of routine that you had?
I sort of like. I'm not too bad with like rituals and stuff, but I like to sort of just keep my schedule. Like I sort of want to know what I'm doing. Like so, whether it's wake up at this time, have breakfast by this time. If I'm maybe go for a walk at this time, have a stretch, and then whether it be like, I know if it's a night game, maybe get a nap in at this time. So I'm pretty cruisy like that. There's no real like superstition.
Yeah,
yeah.
because I could imagine some players would have like a superstition or something.
I used to be like that when I was like playing when I was younger. I used to be very superstitious. Like if I did something one way, like put my left boot on for the right.
Yeah, right.
Like, and then we had a good game. It's like I had to do that the next week, or like. But then I sort of like, just sort of stressed myself out. Like as I got older, I kind of didn't really need to do it. Otherwise, I feel like you get too wrapped up in it. It just sort of stresses you out when you don't need it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
With your current situation, because you had your surgery again on your Achilles from memory.
Yeah.
Did you just want to run us through that? Like, how did you even like do the first year? Like, tear. What happened with that? What's happening now?
So I think it was in preseason. Would have been end of November. It was just sort of like I can't remember what day it was. It might have been like a midweek Wednesday or Thursday session. We had like an opposed, and then it was just going fine. Like, sort of had didn't really think much of it. And then we were just running in the session, opposed session, and then sort of went to like reload, and then went to take off again, and then I just felt like somebody just kicked me in the back of the leg like real hard, and then I sort of turned around and no one was there, and I was kind of like, I knew straight away, like that's when I did it.
Yeah.
And
so you knew like Achilles straight away, or you just like?
I kind of I had a feeling. Well, to be honest, like I think maybe the week before I felt like my calf was a little bit tight, but I didn't really think much of it. We just said we'll keep an eye on it, but it just didn't really feel like much, and then sort of went to take off, and then it just sort of just went. It just felt like a kick in the back of the leg. And then, look behind me and no one was there. And then I kind of knew straight away. I was like, oh, that's Achilles. And I think one of the boys reckon they even heard it pop. So,
right.
It's pretty it wasn't a good feeling. And then, had surgery December. And then obviously going through my rehab or whatever. And then I felt like it probably wasn't something wrong with it early on after surgery. And then 4 months into that rehab, sort of went again, and I went and got scans, and there was another tear there, so had to get the whole a full Achilles tendon repair again there, so twice, and it's just sort of ever since then I've just been slowly progressing, and feels a lot better this time, which is good. But after the first surgery, I feel like something must have went wrong early on. Because it was just sore the whole time, and it got to a point where I probably should have been like progressing further than I could have. You're supposed to be able to do a calf raise, and I couldn't even like lift it off the ground, like no matter how hard I tried. So there was something wrong with it, and then got the scans. And
so you up to that stage, you're doing like calf raise and stuff? Or?
So I can sort of just calf raise now. I'm probably about the same, just past where I was last time, 4 months.
Yeah.
But a whole lot different this time. I just started running on the Ultra G, like that.
So is that like the zero gravity?
Yeah,
type?
It's like a treadmill that takes like your body weight off. So I'm running at about 70% body weight. And just like lightly jogging. But it is going well, but it's probably still like a little while off before I'm back full running and training. So.
Recovery for that would be insane. Like, what are you just doing? Like ice baths? Like, what's a day in life look like when you're doing your recovery for that?
I have to do like a lot of my rehab exercises, which is all pretty much about just getting strength back in my calf. Because I wasn't able to sort of put any body weight on my calf for a while, so I lost a lot of muscle there. So it's just trying to build that muscle back up, and then like ice baths. We're working in the pool as well, like just doing some light stuff in there, drilling and stuff like that on my Achilles. But it is progressing all right so far. But just recovery wise, it's pretty simple, like ice baths and that.
What was it when you snapped on field? Did they do that test I've seen? What is it where they grab the calf?
So you like lay on your front, and then they squeeze like the calf, and then I think it's
if your foot doesn't move.
Yeah,
or
if
something
it doesn't move, that's when you know it's gone.
Right.
So.
And was it like that? It was a complete snap, so it didn't.
Yeah,
move
so
it.
the first one was like a full like snap, so like
Yeah.
they squeezed it and.
And what sort of pain was it? Like pain for like a minute, then it just disappeared because it was a complete snap, or
Yeah, it was weird, because like it kind of felt. I didn't really feel pain until later, Like once I first did it, when I initially did it, it kind of was just more of a shock, like just like what the hell was that sort of feeling. But then probably like another half an hour after that, it just started like the pain just started coming, just swelled up, and yeah, it was pretty sore. But yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Oh, sucks. Is that the worst injury you've had during your life? Yeah.
Like I've been pretty lucky with like injuries and stuff. Like I haven't had any. Like I've never really missed too much footy through injury, and then having this it's been different, like a different experience. But it's given me a different perspective, I guess, on. I feel like just on life, like I probably just wrapped so much up into my footy, where you kind of just forget about everything else, and now it's kind of like just realizing, there's a lot more to life than footy. So it's just given me sort of a different perspective on life.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and obviously it's helped you out with your music. Well, at least you got your music you can work on and stuff like that. Like there's other avenues you can do while you're injured, so that's awesome to see. Well,
actually, so my new project, Peace of Mind, it's pretty much based around like with this injury, sort of what I sort of went through, what I was going through. I feel like because I wrote this. So after the second surgery, I was stuck in Brizzy for 2 weeks. They wouldn't let me fly, so I sort of wrote this in the hotel. I was stuck there. I couldn't move for 2 weeks, and wrote all of this whole project in that sort of space. Met up with a fellow in Brizzy, Braden J, who produces a lot of my music. He's my engineer, so I met up with him, recorded it all, and then put it together in the space of 2 weeks, really. So I guess this is sort of my injury sort of helped inspire this sort of thing, and
yeah, sweet. And when you said before, like big wake up call, like I guess what sort of wake up call was it? Just realizing how easy at one moment can just like go from that to all of a sudden, and it's like shit, like this is like real, like as in like serious injuries and stuff like that. Like
it's crazy. Like it just sort of gave me a wake up call because I don't know, you just like unintentionally doing it, you just sort of get wrapped up in footy and that sort of lifestyle, and just like turning up to training and games, and it's just like a cycle that you sort of get caught up in. And then this one little injury sort of just changed the whole path of my career, sort of.
Is there a lot of pressure when it comes to like when you just said about getting caught up in footy and all that, like just even from like I guess the perspective from the general public and stuff like that, did you find, just this is pre-injury, but did you find, is there a lot of pressure? Did you ever get that, like the head noise get to you, I guess you call it, just in general, I guess, with footy?
I feel like there's you sort of always feel a bit of pressure, and you get that from the general public. Like I'm probably not like one of the sort of bigger names that cop it all the time and that, but you see, like sometimes you might see people in the comments, talking shit about you or whatever, or like even like because I do the music thing, some people feel like people on the outside probably don't, they see me doing the music thing or whatever and assume that I'm not focused on my footy, but I make sure like my footy is like first, like when I turn up to trainings and games, like I make sure I tick every box, and I'm pretty like I feel like I'm pretty professional about it, and make sure I get all my work done to the best I can. And then it's all an outlet outside of footy, is just having that escape, because if you get too wrapped up in it, I don't feel like it's healthy for the mental.
100%. What, do you just not read the comments anymore? Was there a certain time where you actually read the comments and then you're just like, no, I'm not gonna read these anymore?
I try not to read the comments and that. I guess there's probably been a couple of times where I might have scrolled along and then I've seen something, but you try not to get into it too much. A lot of those people just I don't know, they're mad.
No, it's crazy. And even seeing like life. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine any of these people who actually sit there and complain about, like, for example, the music side of things. And same with like when you see of Chad and all them boys doing their golf stuff. It's like I think people get wrapped up into thinking you're only supposed to play rugby league and that's it. Like I know that that's your full-time job and everything. Like, I can understand that, but you got to have hobbies outside of that.
Yeah, that's it. Because it's such a like high pressure environment, like the NRL. Like, you know, you get put in high pressure situations, and it's pretty grueling. Like, you know, preseason and trainings and that. Like it gets pretty intense. So yeah, having an outlet outside of that, I feel like is what you sort of need it. Especially in today's day and age. Like, with just how intense the game is. Like, you need an outlet, and shout out to those boys like Chatty and that doing their players golf thing. Like, I reckon it's mad. Like what they're doing.
Yeah, no, it's always awesome. I always have so much respect when I see like just people doing stuff outside the avenue, especially like footy players. Like it's, like, because there would be so much like media and all that sort of stuff. Like, for example, there's one loss. You could have 10 wins in a row, have one loss, and they'll be like, "Oh, they lost because Maynie's doing the music." That's when it's like, bro, like it's just all the headlines. So I can understand how you guys just don't even look at it anymore.
Yeah,
but
that's it. Yeah.
It's what about playing when you just mentioned preseason? Would you say that's the hardest part, like about just the whole footy when it comes to just that preseason alone? Like how intense is it? Like
preseasons they're pretty tough, like it's just physically demanding on the body, and then mentally I feel like it's just draining because you're just there, like you're there nearly every day of the week, and most days you turn up and you're just like you're getting flogged, like on the field, you're just running non-stop, and then you're lifting heavy in the gym, and then and wrestle and that you're just bashing each other. So it's pretty physically demanding, and you're just doing that nearly every day of the week for like 6 weeks or whatever. Have a break on Christmas, and go again. It is physically and mentally tough, but I feel like it sort of sets you up good for the season.
Yeah, 100%. What about when it comes to the preseason, what's something I guess you'd say that's a bit different than what people might not see? Like obviously I've seen like Panthers, I guess, do their camps where they go away and stuff like that. Have you done things like that where you go around on these like army camps, for example, and spend like a week out bush just doing?
Yeah, like we do a little army camp and that. I remember my first year when we come up here, we did a army camp, and I think it was that 2022 year. We went out to Tully. It was like that rainforest. They had like a little training. It was like an army training center there. And, we did like a day where it was sort of like, I was like a couple days. We sort of went there, and then, we were up early in the morning out to the beach, like doing exercises like on the boat, like we paddling around. We had the paddles and stuff. Had to build our own boat, like blow it up, whatever, take it out, like run. Then like do like a massive like row all around, and then you do that, and then we went to like, what do we do? We come back to the place, and it was like a mix of I guess sort of physically demanding. It was like just a mix of like physically demanding tasks, and then your mental sort of challenging tasks. So that was pretty good, and I feel like those camps and that they sort of build a lot of resilience. And like sort of set you up for the rest of the year. But once you sort of do one, you sort of just build that resilience up, and sort of you get through that, and then it's sort of like hard for anything else to sort of phase you during the season, I guess. But they're good like sort of for team building and that building resilience and for a team. So
no, that's awesome. What about during the season? Is there any like particular moments, obviously not from this year, but from last year, that I guess you can just remember? Is there any particular games that like stood out to you, any moments or anything like that happened? Like obviously you've played so many games, but is there specific games in itself that just stand out to you? Maybe it was like a try you got, or like a certain tackle. Like, is there any sort of moments, I guess, that stood out to you from like last season or anything like that?
I haven't actually scored a try for the Cowboys, but
I thought, Warriors.
I've only scored one try, and that was for the Warriors.
How was that experience?
That was a good experience. That was sort of COVID era, so there wasn't a big crowd. But I guess for the Cowboys, I feel like there's a few games that I've been a part of that really like stick out. One of them was, I think it was down in Manly. I don't know if it was 20. I think it was 2022. We were sort of down by a couple of tries. I can't remember how long to go. Then we came back and sort of run one just before the buzzer. Val went like, I was off the scrum. Val sort of went 80, 90 meters or whatever and scored like right before the buzzer. So that was one game that sticks out.
There was another game that I don't know it sticks out to me, and just because I was talking to Dale prior to this about it, but that game, Jared, forgot his last name now. Jared, where you got into the mix with him. Was it Jared Hargraves?
Hargraves,
yeah, that's it.
No, it was just that game. I think it was Magic Round last year.
Yeah, that wasn't during the bubble or any COVID. Or
it wasn't during the bubble. Yeah, it was just I don't know, just hit, he just sort of ran off the sideline and I come in, my arm sort of just clipped him on the chin and then then he sort of just got up and sort of said whatever and then I was just it was all good. Like I got respect for that fella. He's been around for ages and every time I played against him, he's always been good. Like after the game, come up, say hello, and
is it like that with all players? Because obviously, what you see on TV is just like they get into the mix, but as soon as that game ends, it's like everyone's good. Like I feel like
obviously, things happen in the heat of the moment, but once you're sort of off the footy field, like you sort of just let it go. It's a game at the end of the day. So everyone's pretty like you see fellas on the field. They might play a bit more aggressive than others or whatever, and get stuck into you. But at the end of the day, it's just a game, and then usually after the 80 minutes, everyone's all mates again. So,
do you feel like that's as soon as that game switches off, does something in you just like don't care anymore about who?
Yeah, you sort of just flush it unless it's like real personal, which you never really see. So, it's all sort of just in the heat of the moment stuff. But then once the game's finished, everyone's sort of mates again. So yeah.
If you could say like a stressful part about the footy side of things, what would you say? Like obviously we talked about before with the fans and all that sort of stuff, but like just how people commenting on social media. Is there any like stress? Is that probably like the most stressful part when it comes? Maybe it might have been only been stressful part when you first started. Now it probably doesn't even affect you as much.
No, not really. I don't know. What's another part? No, I'm not too sure. Actually, probably now for me, it's probably just like, I guess, when you're sort of coming off contract and not knowing what you're doing. I feel like this is sort of the first time I've been in that situation. Now with the injury and then coming off contract and then, just not knowing what's going to happen, within the next few months. I guess that's probably one of the stressful things, like, there's players like with families and stuff and, like I've got a mortgage to pay or whatever. There's like, people got bills and whatever. When you're sort of coming off contract, it's a bit hard, like, to sort of see what is ahead. So I guess, that sort of contract stuff can get a bit stressful,
100%. That's why it's always good, I feel like, seeing players like yourself and just every player in general. I feel like just having that, like reaching out and doing other things, like Chad with the golf, you with the music, all this different stuff. Because like, I feel like in this sport, you never know. Any athletic sport where you get paid for it, you never know what can happen.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it was like just before my second surgery. Like, I kind of didn't know what to expect. Like, I actually, like, when I went down, I'd never been so nervous, like sitting in the waiting room before the surgeon. I actually thought like that could have been my career. Like, when I did it for the second time, like I genuinely was like thinking maybe this is it. So you just don't know. Like, one little moment can just change everything. But I guess as footy players, like, it doesn't like I know being at the NRL, your career only lasts so long. Like, you're only gonna, most like people be lucky to play 10 years or in the NRL. So your career only goes for so long, and if you're not sort of prepared or don't have anything outside of footy, when your time does come up, I feel like that'll be hard for a lot of players who don't have anything. So I think, it's important to have something. Yeah.
Is that what advice you'd give to even just like, I guess, the young people come through now, is understanding that, like, I guess you're not going to be thinking about that stuff when you're 16, 17 coming through, but like, I feel like it's still a good message just to have to, I guess, the kids coming through the system, because
like honestly, I remember when I was like a kid, like 16, 18, whatever, sitting in some of those, like the NRL do like lectures and stuff where they, tell us to make sure we're studying and, using the NRL to, pay for courses or whatever. And then I sort of thought, I'll get it done eventually. And then it's just crazy how fast it goes, Like, this is like, I think it's only my 5th year in the NRL, but like, it's just flown. Like, those last 4 years has just flew by so quick. So, imagine the next 5 years, like, they'll just fly. So I'd say to any other young kid coming up, just have things outside of footy that you're passionate about, and because it doesn't last forever and it goes pretty quick. So
sweet, good message for them as well. So that's awesome. Well, in terms of the upcoming project, 5 songs, is it?
Yeah, 5 songs.
Yeah, and you wrote that just after your second surgery, was it?
Yeah,
second surgery. Which song? How did you go through the process of writing that? Did you just have all 5 come to you? Was it like, did you write them all during that recovery room, or?
Yeah, so it was like, in the space of 2 weeks. I think the first one I started working on was, I think the first one I started working on was Pressure. I sort of wrote that. That song just sort of like, I don't know, that's just how I felt at the time. And I sort of, I put that's probably like one of the realest tracks I feel like I've ever wrote. And that's just how I was feeling at the time. Just that sort of pressure, pressure that I just place on myself, or, pressure from, like footy and like family and stuff like that. Just felt that sort of pressure, and having that surgery the second time sort of just made me feel like, am I even going to get back to playing? Like, and a lot of it was just talking about this, like, is everything I'm doing even worth it? Like, it was just, I kind of went through a period like after that second surgery where I know I probably mentally just hit a low. Like, I was probably like depressed. Like, I was finding it hard to get out of bed. Like, just had no motivation. But like, thankfully I had the music. Like, I just wrote all these lyrics out like, I wrote it all out, and then went to the studio with Braden J, and we sort of recorded that one. And that one, I don't know, it just stood out apart from the rest just because of how I feel like just raw and real it was. We even both said it was like, that's sort of just like an anthem, I guess. And then working with yourself, like putting that video together, where I feel like that was, I don't know, I feel like this is one of the best projects I've ever done, just that song within itself. I even had my uncle call me up like not long ago, and he was saying he watched it, and he was saying he had tears like watching it and stuff, which is pretty cool. Like, I guess that's probably more with the project. It was kind of just making like I just wanted people to feel like what I was feeling, and you just feel a certain type of way. And with the other songs, they all sort of touch briefly on other moments within my life or career. I probably won't name the tracks just yet. I've released "Fell in Love."
That's the feature one.
Featuring Kimza. So I worked with Kimza. He's from the 046. So rap group from Sydney, and so we've had we recorded that as well, and then originally I was going to do my own hook for that, and then it just didn't sound right, so I sort of reached out to Kimza and then asked him to get on the hook, and
so you already had the song recorded, you reached out, you showed him, and he just added his
added his hook and recorded it and sent it back, and then got it all done. So I just released that recently, and that sort of just talks about like just sort of finding my love for the music, and just sort of overcoming any doubts and stuff over the years or whatever, and there's like a line in there where I talk about like called it a crossroads between, music and footy. Always sometimes think of that as like, what if I went and did my music thing? It's like, I've already done footy now. What if I went and did that? So that's what it sort of talked about that. But then, then one day someone sort of told me, why don't you just do both? And then that's sort of just where I'm at now. And that's
you would have felt so much happier for yourself just doing it, because reminiscing on what if and all that would have been a lot worse than just doing it both.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then just other songs in there, like I feel like every sort of song just touches on something that I was feeling during that time. So I guess that's why the project Peace of Mind is probably just important to me, because it was just how I was feeling during that time, and it just sort of tells a story to me. And then working with yourself on the visuals, I feel like that tells a story in itself. And I hope I'm really proud of that project, and I hope everyone can go and listen to it and feel some type of way about it.
I'm real keen to put that out. That was one of my favorite projects to do as well, because it's just outside of what I normally do, and just doing that whole black and white visuals as well that we plan for it. So creates a bit of a different experience, and just doing some of it in here, and then going out on the streets and filming it. It came out really cool. Well, hopefully we'll find out. But is there any like spoilers or anything like you want to draw from it? Because I'd say this podcast will come out in about a week or so. Is there anything?
I don't know.
So you've only dropped Pressure.
Yeah, so I've only dropped Pressure and Fell in Love.
Yeah. And you're going to release all the other three at once?
The last three I'll probably release them all at once. Actually, I'm still a bit undecided on that, actually, whether I want to do another single and then release the last two. But I'll probably decide that this week. But I'll probably will release it all at once. And I feel like all 5 tracks sort of just hit in their own way. And I feel like they all sort of hit. Like there's no any misses. I don't feel. I'll say the last track, No Disrespect. I reckon that's probably
that's my favorite.
That's probably one of my favorites. And my brother actually produced that. My little brother, KTB, he produced that. He's back in Melbourne. Produces music. So he produced the beat and then sort of sent it to me. And then I feel like it's just one of those ones. It just goes hard. And even my verses, I felt like I just had to just go in and rap hard. So
I want to know where he got his actual I don't even know the word for it. Once people actually hear it, the noises in it are just different. Like I've never heard anything like it.
I don't know. I actually don't know where he got it. It's like a sample or something that he got, and it's just pretty catchy. I feel like it's a good sort of it's just a good sort of blend of different the samples and different sounds, and I feel like it's something that I reckon would have everyone bouncing in the club and that. So
that's why the EP is going to be awesome, because it's just got that mixture of just everything. So
actually, probably back to what was it, the pre-game stuff? It's funny actually. I walked in on the weekend when the boys were versing the Sharks. Walked in to say hello before the game and that, and then the boys were bumping the new track "Fell in Love." So they always sort of like a lot of the boys sort of play my songs in the gym and. Before the games as well, which is pretty cool, having my song played before the game, and seeing the boys hype up to it. So,
is it like because they come to the shows and stuff, and they've come and watched you and stuff? Is that cool to see everyone, I guess, get amongst it? Like when
it is definitely like just having that support from them. Like I feel like it's such a good group up here that we got. Like everyone's sort of supportive. Like a lot of the boys have their own sort of different things. Everyone's sort of doing their own things at the moment, and I feel like everyone's sort of supportive of that. Like no one sort of judges anyone or whatever. And every sort of show I've done, at least like someone from the club or one of the boys has come. So that's pretty cool in itself.
Yeah, sick. And just touching back on Pressure, because you just said before, was it your uncle you said that rang you just afterwards? Is that just because like he saw that crossroad? When you talk about the crossroad, was he the one who tried to guide you down that path to do both? Was he someone?
Nah, I can't remember who it was exactly. I feel like I've probably just been told that a couple times by different people. Like, oh, I don't know. In my mind, I always thought it was just one or the other, footy or music.
Was this when you were like 16? You got told this when you wanted, like when you said you started to take footy a bit more serious, but you still wanted to do.
Probably that's when I probably started to think of it.
Yeah.
Whether it's like, do I want to go down this path or this path? But I don't know. I felt like I kind of had no choice but to play footy. Like my dad was pretty just footy straight up. So, but yeah, like I kind of just as I got a bit older, sort of left home and that I kind of was stuck. It was between whether I really wanted to play footy for a living or go and do my music thing. But then there's a couple of people that said like, oh, why don't you do both? You could be the first rap artist, whatever, playing NRL or and then that sort of was like I sort of just ran with it. And once I sort of made it to the NRL and then people found out that I made music, sort of just become a thing and slowly gained a following from it. So I've just ran with it ever since. And I guess that's just been me.
Yeah, sick. Have you had support from, like, outside of Cowboys, you said the boys bumped it, but just in the NRL in general, have you had other, like, I know players from other clubs or things like that?
Yeah, I feel like there's been players from other clubs that, listen to my music as well. I think even when the boys were over in the World Cup, like the last World Cup, there was someone was showing me that they're playing my song or whatever.
Oh, that's my
one of the boys sent a snap. And it's pretty cool. Like, people from other clubs playing it. And, it kind of just makes you think that it is good music. So,
in terms of doing the both NRL and the rapping, like, do you want people to see you as, I guess, the NRL player who does the rapping, or would you rather the rapper that does the NRL? Like, have you thought about those two? Like,
I sometimes think about that. I guess it's hard, like, because obviously being in the NRL, it's sort of that's your sort of image. But I kind of feel like sometimes it's people sort of take my music, they don't take it as seriously, like as they would another artist. But then once you go and listen to it, I feel like if you listen to my music and you didn't say I was an NRL player, you'd think it's like a genuine artist, whatever.
Yeah.
But because I'm an NRL player, I feel like it's hard to escape that sort of image. So it does have its sort of like pros and cons. But I feel like it's pretty cool, like. No one can say that they're, there's no artist that can say that I'm playing NRL and making music and vice versa, I guess. So
100%. Is there any other artists that you know of in the NRL? Oh, any other NRL players that are doing music?
I think there's a few boys like Jamayne in that from the Roosters that I've seen. They've been doing a bit of music, like making some songs and that. So
like rapping or just like
I think like rapping and that, which is pretty cool. Like I feel like. Even just on my journey, like playing Q Cup and stuff, and being in the NRL, like I've met there's a lot of NRL players that actually do have a bit of talent musically. So I think it's cool, like the boys sort of exploring that. And I feel like now, especially with the Aussie rap scene, they sort of both, I guess, can intertwine a bit. You see rappers that are doing NRL references and stuff with players and that, and then you see like the NRL boys and that sharing like Aussie rap songs and that. So I think it's pretty cool that, now like in today's day we get to sort of experience that. Like you see that with the NBA and all that. I think it's pretty cool we have that here in Australia.
Yeah, and I feel like as it's going on, I feel like all these rap scenes like the Aussie, the UK, the US, they're all starting to actually like connect with each other in a way. Like it seems like 10 years ago it was like they were all separated, but now it seems like they're actually coming together. Like you see a lot of like the UK and US, and you even see some of the Australian rappers like starting to do, which is cool now.
You see a lot of different like collabs, from like artists from here working with the US and UK and vice versa.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just grown so much, the Australian rap scene. Like it's just grown, and you got artists that are like Kid Laroi and that, like he's in America, like just killing it, like one of the biggest artists in the world.
It's crazy to think like how old's Kid Laroi, like 19. Oh, I don't even. Is he 19 or something like that? 18? Nah, 19,
he was just
20.
like a young fella from Redfern, like making music, and then just blew up. Like it's crazy. Yeah, especially with the power of social media and the internet these days. Like anything can happen. Like people, blow up over,
Yeah, absolutely insane. Especially like Kid Laroi, like potentially could go down as one of the biggest of all time. Like, I know it's so early to say that, but like 19, 20, and the numbers he's doing are just insane. Like, I think it was like 40 million Spotify listeners the other day, which is, like you said, someone from Sydney pumping those numbers. Like,
that's unreal. Like his success. The power of the internet and this day is crazy.
Yeah. Is there any like other like Australian artists, I guess you'd say, because we talked about favourite, but is there any other ones that you listen to in the Australian like scene? I guess maybe even
probably
draw
the
inspiration.
046. So they come up and performed not long ago, and then I made the track with Kim's as well. But I sort of follow their music, and got to open for them, and then I've got to meet like a few other artists that I've opened for up here, like 1-4. HP Boys, Hooligan Hefs, now the 046, like those fellas, sort of listen to their music, and who else would be?
What's your experience like when you're doing those performances, like with 1-4 and Hooligan Hefs and stuff? With Hooligan Hefs, you said? Yeah. Just doing like those performances and stuff, was it like, I don't know, was it a cool experience, I guess you'd say? Like, are they just like how you thought they'd be? Like,
it's cool. You sort of get to meet them, and it's just sort of a bit of networking as well, getting to meet them, and sometimes with them, like their management or whatever, you get to meet them, and every one of them that I've met so far, like they're all just good, genuine dudes. It's just good to sort of make those connections, and it's just good experience, and I feel like. One day I'd love to be headlining my own shows rather than opening for people. But it's somewhere to start.
So talking about doing avenues outside of the football in terms of music, but you got another one that you wanted to start doing. So that's the one. Is it one side?
Nine side.
So nine side.
Yeah. So nine side. I started sort of working on it. While I was injured, I had just heaps of time on my hands, and I'd always sort of wanted to do something. And I was sort of, I guess, debating on whether I wanted to do it, just because I now feel like everyone's making clothing brands and stuff these days. But I guess, I just sort of made this, and then I had a few people hit me up like, are you going to sell these, or where can I buy these hats from? And then because I think I wore it in one of my videos, like just a little snippet or whatever. And then, people were hitting me up like, where can we buy this or whatever? So then I just... started making designs up, and I'm sort of not far off, still a little while away from getting it started, but hopefully should have some hats and maybe even t-shirts in stock still, sort of figuring it out. But
so why nine side? What came to your mind to just
so nine side is just inspired by where I grew up, like in West Melbourne. Our postcode was 3029, so the last digit was the 9. I just sort of took that and sort of the west side of Melbourne. So added the 9 to the west side, like nine side. That's where the inspiration came from, and obviously, I guess it just represents my community where we grew up. Like, everyone that I knew growing up out there is sort of, it's not like we come from a lot, and you just have to work hard for everything you got, and like growing up out west, probably. I know when I was growing up, sort of when you talk about when you're in Melbourne, whatever, you talk to people and then they find out if you're from out west, they sort of feel like they sort of look at you a bit funny or sort of look down on you a bit. So I guess this is sort of just to inspire that and just to give hope to any other kids that are coming up from there that they can do whatever they want. So that's the inspiration behind it is my community.
So is that where you draw a lot of your music from, do you feel like, as well, just that growing up where you were from?
Definitely growing up out there, like I don't know, I feel like just everyone I sort of knew, and even myself, like we never had a lot growing up, and then I feel like people just look down, like you tell people if you're from out west in Melbourne, they sort of look at you a bit like look down on you. I feel like you sort of look down on from people from other areas, like the flasher areas and stuff. So, I guess a lot of my music draws from that and just my experiences growing up out there. I feel like it's, just sort of where I draw my inspiration from and what inspires me to sort of keep going and hopefully, just to inspire other kids from my area, Like I remember when I was coming up, I had no one to look up to really with footy because it's all AFL, and I know there's a lot of Polynesians and stuff out there that follow the rugby league. So yeah, we sort of didn't really have anyone to look up to. So I guess, making it sort of giving me like a different perspective of, hopefully I can inspire other kids. So yeah, that's, I guess, where a lot of my inspiration comes from. Yeah.
No, that's sick.
Yeah.
When you said like growing up, it was either like that or AFL. Is that like the two avenues you could have went down, or like you didn't? Did you ever try AFL or anything?
No, I played a few games in school and stuff like AFL. I probably played like a handful of games all up. Yeah, I don't know. I could never. It's all right to play. I don't know. It just never was for me. Like I was always just mad on rugby league. But yeah, rugby league's not that. Yeah, if you go down to Melbourne, it's not that popular. It's grown a lot since I was a kid. Obviously with the Melbourne Storm and their success. But yeah, since I was a kid, when I was a kid, it probably just wasn't. Yeah, rugby league was sort of, it wasn't really that big. So, AFL is just so dominant down there. Like, it's crazy when you sort of come up to places like here or, Sydney, New South Wales, and Brisbane. It's just, all rugby league. And then you go to Melbourne, they kind of don't really have any idea of what rugby league is. Hey?
Completely different up here. Like, I can't even remember a time where I've watched a AFL game, to be honest. Like, like no one you grow up with here, like, knows what AFL is in that aspect. But, no, it's pretty surprising. But, just to touch back on Nineside. So, you're in the sampling process of that now. So, what have you are you going to do, like, shirts, hats, everything, or you...
Yeah, at the moment I've got they've got the hats so far, just a couple of different colorways, and just working on finalizing a shirt design. So probably just start out pretty simple, and then I guess just stem from there, just see how it goes. But just starting small, and then hopefully see where it can grow to.
Yeah, that's sick. Well, might as well, especially if you're going to do music videos and everything. You might as well represent a brand that's yours. Yeah. And obviously has a deeper meaning for like all your people back home and everything like you just talked about. So, no, that's awesome. We might just end it there.
Yeah, it's all easy.
All right. Cheers for coming on.
Nah, thanks for having me, bro. It's good.